Travel with Dave. I hate having to say bad things, but the Philippines is just insane, all the crazy stuff I have to deal with. So I'm going to tell you a story. I was riding my motorcycle and I noticed that when I was turning the steering wheel, it felt really weird. I thought it was broken. I thought maybe the steering column has some sort of a problem. Maybe somebody hit it. Maybe when it fell down, I didn't know. So for 2 or 3 weeks, I'm concerned about what's going on. I had to make a long trip, and the spark plug fell out. I'm stranded on the side of the road, engines hot. Some guy stops and offers to help me. He pushes my motorcycle maybe a couple of miles to a mechanic. So when we get there, he's pointing at my front tire. And I knew that there was something wrong with the front tire. He's pointing at it. He says something in their language, and he's talking to the mechanic, and then he leaves. The mechanic, I had to argue with him to put the spark plug in. And I said, all you got to do is put it in. It's hanging out. You just got to unplug it, twist it, plug it back in. I don't have the tool to do it. And I had to argue with him to get him to do it. They said they didn't know how to do it and all this stupid stuff. So they're talking about the tire, and I'm like, what's wrong? Is the tire bent? But when I'm sitting on it and I look around, all I see is the fender. I don't even see the tire. So I'm concerned that my tire might be crooked. So then 2 weeks later, I go to another mechanic and I pull in and I park, and some guy comes up and he starts squeezing my tire. And I don't know who this guy is. I don't know if he's a mechanic or not, because they don't wear anything to identify who they are. No mechanic shirt, nothing like that. So then I said, okay, maybe my tire is low on air. So I get my motorcycle fixed and I go home and I check, and the motorcycle was low on there. It was low enough that when you turn it, it feels weird and it wanders a little bit on the road. So now you've got the guy who helped me push my motorcycle, didn't tell me it was low on air. The guy he was talking to, who was a mechanic, didn't tell me it was low on air, and they didn't fix it. And then you got the next mechanic I went to who was pushing on it, didn't say a word to me, didn't say it was low on air. And they got the machine. They use the air to operate some of their power tools, like the power drill. They use the air. They got the machine to do it. And this is typical for the Philippines. I needed air for my tire, and they don't tell you, even though they're mechanics. And there's no excuse that they don't know what the word is. They know what the word is about air in the tire. The mechanics know. I've got lots of other stories about crazy things that happen in the Philippines. So today I was at a restaurant and I ordered something to eat, and I ordered a strawberry shake. And the woman came over. She mumbled something to me. Did you want me to give you a glass of water, something about the shake? And I said, yes, I'll take the water. So I ate my food and I drank the water. And then when I was done, I'm sitting there waiting. And another employee shows up. I asked him what time it was. I thought he said 1:40, but he didn't. He said it was 1:14. But because he didn't pronounce it properly, I got the wrong time. So I said, and I go up and he's getting some ice. I said, did you make my shake yet? And he said, no, I'm going to make it right now. And I'm like, I've been waiting. And the employee wasn't even at the restaurant. I've been at the restaurant for at least a half an hour. And they haven't even started to make my shake yet. So I told the guy, cancel the shake. I paid for my food and I left. So the woman didn't tell me, oh, by the way, the person who makes the shake is not here. She didn't say that. So I had no idea. And then the other thing that happens is this guy who makes the shake, when I come in, they have the menu at the counter. and you order. I walk in. I'm probably the only person who eats at this restaurant. I've never see other people eating there. I've been there like 15 times. Maybe I've seen three other customers out of those 15 times. And I go at lunch and I go at dinner and I go in between. So I go up to the counter and I almost always, I would say 13 out of 15 times, I order the same meal. Once I tried the fish and chips, once I tried the pizza, which was a huge mistake. The fish and chips was good. And the other times I ordered the same thing. When I come over, he walks away. And I'm like, I want to order food. You know what I'm going to order. And then I have to call for him to come back. He's got nothing to do. There's nobody there buying anything. There is absolutely nothing that this guy has to do other than take my order. But that's the type of BS you got to deal with these people because they just don't want to do their jobs and they don't want to talk to you. And then you'll say, "Oh, they don't speak. They speak English." You'll notice that if they're angry, they're very fluent in English, but they just can't be nice to people. That's the problem here in the Philippines. And like I said, I hate complaining about anything. I wish I could say, what a wonderful country the Philippines is. Come here and enjoy it and fall in love. But that's not what happened. They don't roll out the red carpet. These people have bad attitudes. I've never met so many people with so many bad attitudes about everything. I was at a grocery store and I'm waiting in line and I notice there's two other women. Like, what are these two other women doing? I know that they're doing this. They're pretending to be busy because they don't want to ring up my order. And so I actually asked them, I said, excuse me. And I said, can you take my order? She said, yes. And it's like, you don't need to count the paper towels. They're just doing it to pretend to be busy because they don't want to talk to me. When the Filipino person comes, they go like, "Oh, please come. Please let me help you." But when I'm there, they ignore me. And I've seen it so many times at a lot of grocery stores. The women pretend to be busy when they see me coming up with my food. If you don't go directly to the register, as soon as they see me heading in that direction, you're kind of looking around the last thing you want to buy, they'll go and pretend to be busy somewhere, but or they have an important conversation with the other cashier, but they're really just ignoring me. And I'm not saying it's happened once; it's probably happened 100 times to me. I go grocery shopping almost every day. That's how often I see the cashiers refuse. They leave their register when they see me coming, uh, which I've talked about before. I'm going to be out of time soon, so I have to end this video. Again, I hate saying bad things about any place, but I can't believe the bad attitudes that I'm confronted with here in the Philippines.